I was having some very nice spirits, some road spirits try to put me back together as much as they can. And this Maria Tavarez, I'm trying to figure out what her real last name is. I know she under the Santa Muerte network. You can get rid of her through that. It's Terra Novera. It's kind of like with He Kate, they have their own individual names, so the same thing goes with Santa Muerte. It's Terra Novera. And most, well, I'm not going to go into too much details about that, but with that being said, a lot of Mexican people have access to it. With that being said, part of her network, you can do something. With that being said, her last name, I believe, because there's power in knowing the last name, I believe is Tavaras, which is odd for a Spanish name. You know, usually Mexicans, because they adopted the Spanish language, I hate when people call them Spanish because they're not Spanish. Like a friend of mine's from España, who actually was from España. You got, contrary to most Spaniards, as broken down in that film, True Romance, have, very dark complexions due to the Black Moors. As a matter of fact, in Shakespeare's Othello was described as being black, the Black Moor, black African. I don't even want to say sub-Saharan. We, from what I learned, the Cometians who set up the blueprint for everything, excluding the Illuminati, they came later on as a control, mechanism to take over because of what goes on here. They look like light-complexioned black people, where they come from. And so black people in general have the whole gamut of all the phenotypes and genotypes on the earth. With that being said, as my good friend from España derisively said one time, he called them a bunch of Indians that speak Spanish. Their real language, you had the Olmecs, which from what I understand were robotic versions of Africans. Then from there you had the Pachawa, the Mexica, and then you had them. So you're supposed to speak Nahuatl. Nahuatl, I don't know how to pronounce that, but Nahuatl, if you're of Aztec origin. Not everybody is. The Aztecs conquered them people. Human history it's a story of subjugation. With that being said, I'm trying to figure out what this woman's name is. She took my entire soul consciousness last night. And, I felt a palpable difference, and I nearly felt dead. I had a nice little spirit entity try to put me back together as much as she can. The problem is, when I get put back together, I can get nervous and all of that, and she tried her best, and I didn't feel it. It was very tranquil. And that was designed to get me everything back, save me as much as I can. Because my higher self got fucked up and everything. Great Jewish grandmother, I believe, and, also comes from a Swedish past life. So with that being said, I was being put back together earlier, and I had one very positive entity that was trying to, lead me and, help me out as much as they can and guide me on what's going on. And I lost contact with that. I got fucked up. That's why I say I'm gonna have to go to a Reiki healer. I ain't going to no wet bags. I'm gonna go to somebody that is either Asian, black, white. I'm leaning hard towards black. I ain't going to them motherfuckers. I heard in the timeline where if Baron Samedi, didn't shift me into a timeline where back in the day, there was this song by American Idol I would hear called I Could. And with that being said, I no longer hear it. I would no longer hear it. And it was by a very famous biracial singer whose name is on the tip of my tongue. Consciousness feels, like something is invading it. It feels mad full. That's why there's something I've been wanting to tell y'all about the ice raids, but I can't. I keep having my consciousness gets fucked up every time I try to remember by this Maria Tavarez or something. Something I saw before all of this. And with that being said, I can't do it, with this shit. So I gotta get this bitch off. It's a lot I want to talk about. A lot of prophecies I learned during this. It's a lot. With that being said, getting critical with this motherfucker. Where she's taking over damn near my entire consciousness. I feel it, and I got to get this evil motherfucker off. With that being said, I feel it. It is strong. Yeah, bitch talking and everything else. Trying to pull everything out, pull everything in, take me over so she could kill me off. With that being said, the name of the person is Jordan Sparks. I heard she put some of that shit in her consciousness. With that being said, her name, 694, 695 hertz to see. 1715 hertz, 1714 hertz returns. I can feel it right now. She's fucking with me. Bad. 295 hertz. Yes, I wish I had a good spirit team that could have put everything back to fucking together, and I wait till I wake up to do something. This is not impossible to fucking do. It's not hard. It's not hard by any stretch of the imagination. If you have a good working spirit team, from what I understand, if all you got are entity attachments working with you, you ain't got a real good spirit team or anything. Heard in that soul swapping timeline, Kanye West, for instance, his spirit team, when he sees them, are like very small, diminutive. It's not like minds appear. I mean, this is ridiculous. People talk about protecting the energy, and I really need minds protected. But anyways, I was told, it's fucking ridiculous. Anyways, I was told that there was a divergent timeline where when I would hear Jordan Sparks, I would have become a radio announcer in New York, and I would have been very, very famous. Not radio, but television presenter. And that didn't materialize because, from what I understand, he extricated me from that timeline, from that reality. Because there were times where I could hear it and I could look it up and see the song actually existing. It's like what's going on with me right now. And times I couldn't. With that being said, this is too much. Yeah, shit moving around, her moving around, fucking with my consciousness and all of that. It's getting on my fucking nerves because this is something I should be able to take for granted. I'm being told. Anyways, with that being said, Angel Michael fucked up. I ain't got. Anyways, with that being said, where was I trying to pick up where I'm going with the divergent timelines? Just tried to take my whole consciousness just now, and I had help from some spirits. All right. With that being said, all right. This is what I wanted to say. My consciousness is so fucked up that it's hard for me to concentrate. With that being said, in the timeline where I was a TV presenter, from what I understand, I had spoke with went to a wet bag for a tarot reading, and she took a lot of my blessings and timelines, but was telling me about, stay away from spirituality because of what has manifested due to this. I'm gonna say this: stay away from wetback spiritualists because they gonna fuck you up. Like I say, them people, you look at their fucking creator gods, those are demons. Those are straight up demons. With that being said, they come from the primordial darkness. And that's ruled by Satan and Zenu. You don't want to fuck with motherfuckers with no life because they have no life in them. That's why they're very good at, well, not as good as the Asians, at emulating shit. That's why the culture just circumvents around emulating us. They're big into old-timies, driving, pimped out cars, which simulates our culture and took a lot of that from us. Our speech and everything. It likes robots. With that being said, and like I said before on the PCH, I noticed that they're organic vessels for demonic evil entities because of their evil, demonic derivation. From what I understand in the spirit plane, their gods, their created gods, will disguise themselves as entities that look similar to this. And from what I understand, that's because, they would use it to lure them underground and all of that. They they were demons. And with that being said, you don't want to fuck with anybody like that. You don't want to fuck with that. That's why, a lot of their shit, focuses on the primordial darkness, that Phantom Worthy bullshit, which, I explicated before, is a thought form, a topa. All of that circumvents around death, decay, just destruction and chaos, which the primordial darkness represents, chaos. That's why they call black magic chaos magic. But I got to get this motherfucker off, and I'm going to try. It's the most evil ass shit you can have on you. And that's what them motherfuckers do. That's why I steer clear of them. Hell no. Fucking with that. I'm scared. So anyways, I feel this shit right now resonates. Current position, I should say, that you're in is the Tower. You're stuck, you're entrenched in the Tower moment, where you feel like things are mad bleak, very bleak, and you feel like there's no way out. Future position, current position is justice. I feel like you have something that's occurring that's bringing about a much needed change, profound change, something that could go in the right direction for you. I keep seeing this for me. 3 of Pentacles is your future position. I see you going to some people for consultation, to get, positive, good advice from, to see a better way. Subconscious position, 6 of Wands. You are in a very positive position, but be very careful. Be wary of deception. You don't want anything to throw you off. If something seems too good to be true, don't capitulate to it. Don't fall for it. 2 of Pentacles is your goals position. I see that you want to work with some other people to bring about a result, an outcome, and it's mad hard. Advice card, 8 of Wands, is to just be very intelligent in calculating your risk. Don't jump into anything, but don't let shit stop you. Don't let inertia occur for you. The Hangman, for the energy that's all around you. I see that's a lot of motherfuckers feeding off of you, that's waiting for you to capitulate to something, to fall to your demise. Here, we got 3 of Swords right next. Fear and Hopes card. I see that, hopefully don't happen in the future. You're stuck in a very bad position. But, if you make intelligent decisions, you could avoid it. You can avert it. Knight of Wands is the future position. I see you going all out because you're going to feel like it's pointless. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and say it like this. Never give in. And there's always the future. If you want a more personalized reading, please contact me at ravenbyterror22@yahoo.com. Peace. I look so fucked up and broken because of this, but I think her name is Tavarez, Maria Tavares the fourth. You know, the rest of the higher selves, the third, the second. And I believe that her higher self is Maria Blanca. I learned that in the spirit world. Lord have mercy, this shit got in.